even though it's not the best advice for everyone, but I would say CAT exam is more about cracking those questions. Even though you should have thorough knowledge of the concepts you are dealing with, but if you don't know how to solve a particular question on that particular exam day, it's of no use. Anyone who is preparing for CAT for maybe a year or two, he can go back and solve all the 100 questions when he goes back home. But what matters is how fast you are, how accurate you are, and how many questions you solve in those particular 3 hours.
Can you briefly highlight about your family background and about your initial education?
Yeah, so I belong to a business family. So from the very start, my family has been involved in business. I'm the second person in my family who's going to a service sector, a corporate white collar job. So I did my primary education from Muzaffarnagar, which is my hometown. Post that, I moved to New Delhi for a couple of years of my education. Then I graduated from Triple IT Allahabad, where I graduated in computer science, basically engineering. And post that, I had been working with Citibank as a technology analyst for almost 3 years. So post that, yeah, I'm here at MBA Gurgaon doing my MBA right now. So that's the crux of it. So a business family, someone who didn't want to join the family business and wanted to probably work in a corporate sector and explore things on his own. So that's where I am.
Having such high percentile, I'm sure you must have got the call from other IIMs as well, like IIM ABC or FMS, isn't it?
So I had calls from FMS Delhi, and then I had calls from other IIMs as well. But then weighing in on the pros and cons, I wanted to major in marketing. So I felt MDI was the best thing I could get. And MDI is certainly it's no surprise that it's called the marketing campus of the country. So that was a no-brainer for me while choosing the MBA college. Yeah.
What was the preparation strategy for the earlier month prior to that?
So, I think you must be aware, I was working in a corporate setup. I was working with Citibank as a tech analyst. Time was a big constraint at that time. And yeah, I had written CAT prior to that year as well. But at that time, as you said, a sudden decision. So it was not really sudden, but taking CAT was a sudden decision at that time. I knew I wanted to do an MBA. I was a little clearer in my thoughts than I was 2 years before when I completed my graduation. And then I took CAT. So I got 98.33 percentile that year, but I didn't get the institute of my choice. So I just thought I'll wait it a while. And then while I was attempting the CAT 2019, I started preparing a couple of months prior to that. And what I feel, it's not the 8 hours of work that takes you through that college. It's that you work 8 hours on Saturdays and Sundays on weekends, and then probably you don't get time on weekdays. It's those regular efforts, those 30 minutes of efforts every day that really take a big leap towards on that big day. You need to be very regular, you need to be very disciplined and punctual, and that really makes a lot of difference because it takes a lot of effort to reach from probably a 90 to 95 and then a 95 to 99, and then from every 0.1 percentile it's a huge effort, one question here and there, and you've lost a seat probably, if I should say. Yeah.
For CAT 2019, when did you start your preparation? I mean, was it from the month of March or you 2 months before that?
Approximately 2 months, just 2 months before that. Yeah.
Okay. Prior to that, was it a half an hour, 1 hour preparation? It was no preparation, and then you started off on a certain day.
So prior to that, it was no preparation at all. So at that time, I took a mock test from Career Launcher. I'm sorry, it was Time Institute. It was not Career Launcher. I took a mock test from Time Institute. So there was a reason. So I had 98.33 in the prior year itself. So nothing to boast about it, but I had cracked the JEE before prior to that. So like aptitude was not a real deal for me, but probably verbal was a little challenge. The other things were a little kind of a practice kind of a thing, and getting to know the kind of questions. Even though it's not the best advice for everyone, but I would say CAT exam is more about cracking those questions. Even though you should have thorough knowledge of the concepts you are dealing with, but if you don't know how to solve a particular question on that particular exam day, it's of no use. I should anyone who is preparing for CAT for maybe a year or two, he can go back and solve all the 100 questions when he goes back home. But what matters is how fast you are, how accurate you are, and how many questions you solve in those particular 3 hours. Because almost everyone studies from similar sources. These days, we have digital platforms, we have so many coaching institutes, and everything is available in digital as well as hard copies. So, what makes the difference? You need to know the approach towards solving questions. So, those 2 months, I only work towards learning the approach towards solving a particular type of questions. Let's say you have a DILR set. So you should know how to approach it, because if you waste 10 minutes out there, you just lost 3 questions. And that's what makes the difference. The other person would have already secured 10 marks. So,
Mhm.
so
Okay.
that is where the really the game changing thing happened for me. Probably in those 2 months, I took mock tests. I realized where my weak points were. Then I started working towards those kind of questions, those particular topics. Because there's no point of keep on brushing the same topic again and again. If I'm strong at probability, there is no point of keeping on doing that again and again. Keep that stronger, but make your weaker point as well strong. Because in the exam day, you don't know which topic is going to pop up, right?
Correct, correct, correct. Okay, so how did you manage to balance your corporate life? Because you said you were working with Citibank, so probably 8 to 10 hours work on a daily basis, coming to the office and going back home. So 10 hours there. How much time were you spending for the CAT examination in the last 2 months?
So as I said, some days it could be 30 minutes, some days it could be 1 hour, some days it could be 2 hours. But the thing what I made sure was if I had 30 minutes, I would sit for those 30 minutes and learn something. Maybe I'll just revise what I did on the previous day. I'll just revise some formula because you cannot just mug up all the formula on the last day. For some people it may be easy, but for others it may not be. So what I would suggest is be regular in whatever time you have left right now. As CAT 2020 is approaching, we have less than 20 days, I guess. So right now, what's important is you just like mugging up is not the best thing to do, but informally you have to do that. And right now, take as many mocks as possible and like pick up the weaker topics. There are 20 days. 20 days, it can actually mean you learn 20 topics if you have that time. If not, then maybe 10 topics to cover one topic in 2 days. So that's the kind of approach I followed. If I had 2 hours, I used to devote 2 hours. If I had 1 hour, I used to devote 1 hour. So that's the way I try to manage. And then at the end of the day, even MBA is going to become more rigorous for you if you cannot take out time from your whatever busy schedule you are having.
True, true, true. So, how important is that to analyze the kind of paper you have given in the mock test? How important is that?
So the importance of that paper, as I already highlighted, you need to know your weaker points. I may say I don't know probability, but is probability really coming in cat mocks? You need to do previous year papers as well. So there are like 30 40 different topics or different type of questions that are a part of the syllabus. But if that question is just 1 out of 33 and you are really weak at that and it's going to take a lot of time, there is no point of wasting time at the start. Be strategic. A strategic approach is really important because time is limited and competition is very tough. Like there are a lot of people who are working day in and day night. So you need to be smart. You need to as you say, instead of hard work, do the smart work. So,
Okay.
because to crack a 90th percentile in any particular section, I believe you don't need to crack all the 32 or 34 questions. Probably cracking 30, 28, 27 questions in quants and maybe 16, 17 questions in DLR does the trick. So you need to work on your strengths and you need to maybe strengthen your weaknesses a little so that you just don't fall if the paper does not come as you planned or as you hoped. Okay. So it's a
Okay.
more of a smart work than a hard work kind of a thing. You need to be like vary about the circumstances, how much time you have at hand, and what is your positioning currently. If you're starting from scratch with everything, or if you have some background and then you're building upon that.
How was the experience of this online because of the COVID? I'm sure you must be getting the classes online till now.
Yeah.
How tough is it to adjust, or how did you manage to acclimatize with this change?
So it is tough, definitely, but it's not as tough as it seemed. Like the people used to think, how will we manage? Is it even possible to have the same kind of education, same kind of learnings from the online platforms? But as we went into it and as we slided into it, it really we became comfortable with each passing day, and it's really commendable how the institute has planned everything, how they have conducted classes flawlessly. So the only basic requirement is you need to have a flawless internet connection. At times there are hiccups because it's technology. There are going to be hiccups. You may be, I myself am in a tier like a Muzaffarnagar, probably a tier 2 or tier 3 city, tier 3 probably. So there are kind of hiccups. They can happen even in Delhi, even in Bombay, and even Muzaffarnagar. So apart from those things, it has been really smooth. The only thing where I feel a challenge was like collaboration. Like MBA, sometimes people highlight that it's peer learning. So you need to adapt. You need to make sure that you don't give up to these challenges and the peer learning stays alive. You're doing group projects, you're doing some assignments. So you're connecting with your peers, right, rather than working in silos. So that is really important. And
Okay.
we have seen in the last few months, there have been so many platforms. Everyone has been giving more and more features like Zoom, Teams, and everything is there. So just make sure, make use of anything that you have at hand.
Okay.
And that is what MBA teaches you, like not just the domain knowledge, not just the technical knowledge related to a particular domain. You need to adapt, you need to manage things, you need to adapt to the circumstances and make the most of it. Yeah.
Okay. How do you manage to work on a group project these days when people are sitting at all together different places? I mean, is it quite convenient for you to manage it? Like, how tough
Yeah.
is it?
So, see, definitely it will be unfair if I say it's as good as it will be in a physical setup when you're in the same room or in the same classroom. But definitely, there are ways where you can use to adapt. So there are team Zoom calls. You can have video calls with your teammates. You have shared drives. You have shared documents where you can pitch in your ideas and discuss out with the team, and then do your individual stuff as well, and then again calibrate and then work on those things. So definitely, we are all eager to join the institute as soon as we are allowed to, as soon as there are permissions. But yeah, these are the ways we tried. So like keep connected with your folks, and one of the most important things is. Like when you join an institute in a physical manner, you develop a connection with your batchmates, you develop a connection with your seniors. So that becomes a little challenging where in an online setup. But that was something that was very well taken care by the institute and the seniors as well, who organized sessions for us, a lot of learning sessions and grooming sessions for us. And then it was up to the batchmates, who we really did a great job in connecting and bonding. So I can proudly say we already have a bunch of friends we connect on a daily basis. And it just not stays limited to the two or two, three, four people or five people you're connecting on a daily basis. You need to connect with everyone and anyone from your batch, from your seniors, and just reach out to anyone you need help from, you think can be helpful to you. Just reach out to them, and the best part is they all are really helpful.
Okay.
So you just need to develop that bond, and like do not hesitate in connecting with people.
Tell us something about the kind of various clubs and community activity which we have at MDI Gurgaon campus.
So MDI has a almost like you name it, we have it. You have a
Okay.
marketing club, you have a alumni disguise marketing club, you have strategist, the consulting club, the sports committee, the alumni relations committee, corporate relations committee. So there are n number of committees. I won't even remember the names of all. I have I know them of course, but it will be hard to count them. So like there are almost committees for every particular domain. Operations, we have obsession. So but it's not an easy cakewalk. You need to you go through a rigorous like process of interviews and assignments and tasks, and then you end up in one of the committees, and then you end up contributing to the legacy.
Okay, so is that all community are being managed by the student itself? One of your seniors would be managing it, or is it that the faculty which manage everything out there?
So it's a mix of both. Some like some committees have faculties managing, but anyway, the institute is would be overlooking everything. But then it's more of a student-driven thing, where the legacy keeps on passing to the coming batch.
Every student who is in the first year needs to be the part of one of the committee as well, along with the basic things.
It's not a need actually. It's a voluntary thing that you want to be part of a particular committee, so you appear for the interviews for that. You appear for the hiring process for that. So, but then everyone comes with a certain something in their mind. So, I'm not. I cannot say all, but I think most of them would have one club or committee. They would be working aside from their academics and like focusing more on their placements. They would be working on those things as well. Yeah.
Uh,
And actually, what happens is these clubs and committees actually working towards the development of the fellow students as well.
How does a student of MDA Gurgaon connect to the society? Is there any social initiative as well which we take in MDA Gurgaon?
So Samaritans is one such committee that takes care of these institutes, these activities. So it has a similar process where you are assigned tasks. So even the tasks that you assign you are related to doing something, contributing to the society. How you approach those things, how you create a difference in the lives, and then you get selected. And those are the kind of things that keep on going throughout the year. Even right now, like I'm completely, I may be mistaken, but a few days ago we organized a blood donation camp for the needy, like so that we can help during these times as well. So Samaritans is the one.
Tell us a bit about faculty which we have in MDA Gurgaon. How is the faculty?
So what I would say is it's world class. It's well known. They are the globally renowned faculties. Their teaching style, it's exemplary. And the best part is they are approachable. So as you said, in the online setup, how you're facing the challenges and all. So the thing is that faculties have made it so easier for us to approach them. We can, like, of course, you can ask your doubts in classes as well. But apart from that, you can anytime you can ping them, call them, or email your queries to them, and they are approachable and they are very prompt with the responses. And like you can go to them with any kind of doubt. Like as they say, no query, no doubt is a bad doubt, no question is a bad question, those kind of things. So that's the kind of environment MDI has. The only objective here is to learn, and of course then all the aspects of MBA are covered.
What is the daily schedule of the student?
So daily schedule can vary from student to student and from day to day. So there's no hard and fast rule. So as and when things come and assignments come, you have to pull all nighters as well. And you are at times, like it's very difficult to find those days when you have a lot of time. But maybe once in a blue moon you may have some days. But normally the classes are scheduled from probably 8-9 a.m. to probably 5-6 p.m. Definitely not throughout the 8 hours. But apart from that, there are so many other activities that a student engages in that add on to the classroom learning, the practical learning. Then there are case competitions, there are workshops conducted by seniors as well, and then the peer learning, the group assignments, group projects that help you implement those learnings in a practical way that you learned in theory in the class. So if you really want to ask me the schedule, there's no schedule as such. Uh, the biggest challenge of an MBA institute is, and you need to do that as quickly as possible. You need to find out how you're going to sleep and when you're going to sleep. Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys get the time to watch some movies on Netflix or something, or you don't get it even? So
It's
much.
a one-to-one basis. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I recently watched a movie a couple of days ago.
Okay. Okay. But I'm sure that the schedule must be very, very hectic on a daily basis.
Of course it's hectic. It make it's like a part of the rigor. It makes you ready for the toughest corporate jobs, and it's hectic. But then you adapt to it, you get used to it, and then it becomes a smooth sailing ride after a point
Right.
of time.
Akshay, you have already worked for corporate. Do you really think that the corporate life would be that hectic, whatever we are prepared at our institution?
So then it depends upon the job you are in. So where I was working, so it was a 8 to 10 hour job. And what happens is, it's the kind of work you want to do. It's not that city made me do 8 to 10 hours of work. So even say with city, I would like to say the work life balance was the primary thing. But they never stopped me from working 14 hours or 16 hours. If I want to work on something, they won't stop me. But if I want my work life balance, if I want to go home, then they won't stop me from doing that. So it depends upon the individual, how you see yourself progressing in the next 35 years, how you, or what if I enjoy doing that kind of work, then I can actually do that 14 hours a day, right? And if I have some other hobbies, then probably I'll take a break and do those things in the rest part of the day. So it totally depends upon the kind of job you end up in, and the kind of field you are in, and how you see yourself growing. Some people love working for 14 hours a day, 16 hours a day, then that be it.
COVID is still prevailing in the Indian market. Last year, placement was very challenging. How is that you people preparing yourself for this internship and the placement as well for 2020 batch?
See, you can only do what you have in hand. You get the best domain knowledge you have. The domain knowledge is not the only part of an MBA education. You have a holistic development as a person, as a professional, and everything. So you focus on doing that. You adapt to changes. You need to be able to work in a digital setup. You need to be able to collaborate. Those kind of skills become really handy, because even COVID is there. Work has not stopped. Word has not stopped. People are still going. Maybe some business are affected more than the others, but then some business have boomed as well. So that is because those companies have been able to adapt. They had the opportunity to adapt because their business was possible to be conducted in online fashion. So it's just that you need to be adaptive. You need to learn the nuances of online as well. And I'm hopeful soon we'll be like companies have already started working in offline setup as well, and soon things will get back to normal once we have a vaccine. But then at the end of the day, you need to prepare yourself for the worst, and in the best case scenario, it is going to help only. So that's what I can say.
Okay.
And at the end of
Uh,
the day, it's about the corporates, like how much bandwidth they have, and how it's impacting the economy. So it's going to impact one and all.
Akshay, I just wanted to know pattern in which we solve the case studies at MDI Gurgaon. I mean, the teaching pedagogy and the way we solve the case study. Is it that the faculty teaches us the case study, or it is just that we have to be into the system and solve the case study? How do we approach the case study?
So a lot of lectures are, or should I say, most of the lectures are case study based. You're given like live business problems, and then you solve those things, and then by that you learn in the class itself. And then you go back and then you do solve more case studies, and then you have assignments based on some more live projects or some business cases that have happened in the past. So that's the kind of approach. And then I've just been through one trimester so far, so there's a lot for me to explore as well. So that kind of thing is there.
You said that at MBA Gurgaon we follow basically case study teaching pedagogy. The pattern is more of a case study solving. So before you solve a case study, you need to know the fundamentals. Is that something which is covered in the few classes and then you
So,
solve the case study?
as I said, it's not a hard and fast rule. A faculty may design a course based on how they want to teach it, and sometimes they adapt to how students are perceiving it. Maybe so. Those things really depend upon the kind of course you are taking, and it varies from class to class. There's not no hard and fast rule that you'll start from a case study from day one, or you'll have one case study per class or two case studies. So it really varies from things. If you don't know, if students don't know the basics of it, then of course the faculty covers it. But then it's more like a practical learnings driven out of a case study than just giving out theory to the students and then leaving them on their own. So it's basically a mix of both things. You need to know the basics as well, and then only you'll be able to do some live case studies. But like if you so from what I've learned so far, case studies are more about how you approach a particular problem. Maybe if you go into the life of a consultant from day one, you would not know that industry. You will have to do your research and learnings. But what matters is how you approach that problem, how you approach that problem from a client perspective. If you're able to tap those pain points that he is having, so those kind of things, the like broadened mindset is really needed in going for the case studies. The approach is more important than the right solution, because if the approach is right, you'll get the solution definitely.
Sure. Quiz is a part of the system. I mean, do we quite often get quizzes in the college?
Yeah, so sometimes you have planned quizzes, sometimes you have surprise quizzes. So you can have quizzes on any day. Yeah. So
Okay.
they are very regular. Probably like you have so many subjects in a trimester, so you may have quizzes going on and on throughout the weeks. Yeah.
Perfectly all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akshay, for the time today. It was wonderful discussing a lot of things, getting to know from you about the approach, the way you are approaching towards your education. Any message which you want to give to the student who will be joining their MBA after you?
So first of all, I would like to tell them, don't just do an MBA just because you're a part of a rat race. Don't be that. Don't do that. First, figure out if you really want to do an MBA, and if then why. It's like, don't just join an MBA because it's a placement factory or something. It's because trust me, it's a 40-year long career. You don't want to do a job just for money. You need to figure out what like kicks you more, what ticks you more. You need to figure out that particular thing, and then probably go for an MBA when you're really sure about that. It's an investment for a lifetime. It's a learning for a lifetime. It's going to stay with you longer. You can maybe wait another year and then go for an MBA. And like preparation strategy, like I've already covered mine. Everyone has a different for themselves. Uh, when you're an MBA, give your best, make the most of it. Don't just focus on academics. Do everything that is available. Of course, it depends upon the bandwidth, but make the most of it. Make the most of these 2 years. Like every college life, it's not going to come back, and you're going to miss it more than ever, and you're going to miss the missed chances that you could have done this, you could have done that, because you can sleep later on. You can really watch Netflix movies later on. I'm not saying don't watch those, but yeah, make the most of what is available in these 2 years when you join the MBA college. Yeah,
Perfectly all right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akshay, for the time today.
my pleasure.
And best wishes from my side and from my team side for your career ahead in MBA.
Thank you, Dheeraj. Like, feel free to connect in case you want to have some more insights. Though
Sure.
it won't be
I
many.
will.
Yeah.
I will surely do that. Thank you so much, Akshay. Bye. Have a great time.